Tonight on Tech Live.
A record industry raid down under. Music cops crash Kazaa offices and the homes of company executives.
I don't like the corporate identity the tower has.
A major record retailer faces bankruptcy. But are music downloads to blame? And can these stores survive the competition?
No one will ever go into the NSA. No one.
Jake 2.0 may have the fake NSA, but the real one has nifty gadgets too. We check out the real deal.
We give you a basic format how to deal with any type of terrorism.
Responding to disasters, one of the toughest jobs out there. A new CD-ROM prepares firefighters and other emergency crews for the worst.
And now, here's Tech Live.
Hey there, I'm Michaela Pereira.
And I am Chris Leary. Well, the place where more people in the world get free music got raided. Kazaa, a company that makes free file swapping possible, had teams of Australian investigators searching through their records. Is this the beginning of the end for Kazaa? David Stevenson digs into this hot topic.
The message from Australia's copyright cops? The piracy's gotta stop. A team of 15 investigators and computer forensic experts raided the headquarters of Kazaa on Thursday, seizing documents relating to music piracy, snatched from the world's largest peer-to-peer file-sharing network.
This is a very clear signal to internet pirates in Australia that the game is up.
Australian police are targeting the illegal file swapping services and trying to shut them down. It's similar to the harsh scrutiny faced by P2P networks in the U.S. The authorities searched for evidence tied to the Australian recording industry's civil action suit against Sharman Networks, the parent company of Kazaa.
This is the largest copyright infringement case in Australia. These people are the largest infringers of copyright in the world.
Other targets, Telstra, Australia's largest telecommunications company, the University of New South Wales, and Melbourne's Monash University. Investigators say all were linked to Kazaa. The Australian federal court gave major Australian record labels the go-ahead to raid 13 premises in 3 Aussie states to collect evidence against Kazaa. The cops also raided the home of 2 Sharman executives, including Kazaa CEO Nikki Hemming. In an exclusive interview with Tech TV last summer, Hemming boasted Kazaa would survive piracy challenges.
Vision isn't about waiting until all the lights go green before you take off. So it's really about staying the course. And if you have a plan, just work your plan and map out the terrain in front of you. And be accountable for your actions and be responsible for what you do.
Now it seems she and Sharman Networks may be held accountable for millions of free digital downloads.
The case hits federal court next Tuesday in Sydney when Sharman will face record company lawyers to defend their network, Chris.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Now, what is Sharman saying about all this stuff?
Well, they've put out a company statement. They called the search and seizure, quote, a waste of time, money, and resources. The statement claims that decisions around the world have already validated what Kazaa is doing. And the company says it's going to move to have the search and seizure put aside. In the meantime, folks are already still downloading on Kazaa. It goes forward.
Well, it just keeps on going. Thank you very much, David. All right, now let's see what you all think. Do you support the raid on Kazaa? Yes, it's about time. No, they're innocent. Sound off at techlive.com.
Well, with Kazaa taking some heat for online music downloading, one chain music store here in the U.S. is feeling the heat of bankruptcy. When it first opened 44 years ago, Tower Records was the first place for music. Today, not so much, as Andy Jordan finds out.
5 years ago, the Pet Shop Boys played this Tower Records in San Francisco. Now, just days before Tower is expected to file for bankruptcy, it's a bad Beatles cover band. And that's just the beginning of Tower's woes. Why are they in such dire straits?
They just don't interest me. I prefer Amoeba.
Why?
Well, I like the option of getting some used CDs at the same time that I'm getting newer ones, and I don't like the corporate identity the Tower has.
Independent music stores like Amoeba say they try to cut buyers some slack, even when the record companies don't.
CD industry has been telling us things are going to get cheaper as it goes along, and they continue to get more expensive.
But some record companies have been cutting prices they charge stores, right?
One of them has been very progressive. The other ones have not as yet. I think that's the direction that they should take in the near future if they're going to bring the customers back into the stores, back into brick and mortar outlets.
You download music? Yeah, all the time. You do it more than you buy CDs? Yeah. Why? If you want like one song, you don't want to buy a CD, and CDs cost money.
And money's the whole issue. Artists need it, music lovers don't have it. But that's an old argument and turning into a classic quandary.
I don't like when to download music, but I do anyway. I do download it because songs I can't get anywhere else. But when I download it, I try to go find the CD and I buy it anyway. Like if someone burns me a CD, I go buy the real thing later to give the artist money.
Now, the early word Tower is not expected to close many stores or lay off employees, but we've heard that before, right? You'll remember Warehouse Music filed for bankruptcy last year, and Best Buy also sold its Musicland and Sam Goody stores last year as well.
Well, who is? This is my question. We talked to all the people who aren't going to Tower. Who is? Who actually goes to brick and mortar CD stores anymore?
Well, it's funny, Mick. The people we talked to today at the stores like the whole social aspect of coming into a music shop. It's like the grocery store in a way. You get to cruise, scope out what kind of music everybody likes. Not a bad deal for them. A lot of them do say, dating possibilities aside, they'll stick to bargains at brick and mortar stores and buy the hits online.
That's a good way to look at it. All right, Andy Jordan, thanks.
At age 14, most kids in middle school are learning some math, U.S. history, maybe playing in a band, or none of the above. And then there are child prodigies. Here's cool stuff.
Showing some serious girl power, 14-year-old Aliyah Sabor. She's the country's youngest PhD candidate, specializing in nanophotonics at Drexel University in Philadelphia. Last May, she got a degree in applied math from New York State's Stony Brook University. She's on track to get her doctorate in 4 years. Aliyah is also an accomplished clarinetist and has a black belt in Taekwondo. And now, someone with an advanced degree in bed making. Sure, laugh, but let's see you do this. Crowned at the Super 8 Motels International Bed Making Championships at the Mall of America in Minnesota, it's Rebecca Rother, representing a Super 8 in Salt Lake City. It took Rebecca just 2 minutes and 3 seconds to do a queen-size bed with 2 sheets, a blanket, and 2 pillows, beating out 27 other maniac bed makers. First prize, $25,000. A combination of new and old methods to help the deaf communicate over the phone. It's a video relay service that uses an internet video system from Sorensen Media and sign language interpreters from Gallaudet University in Washington, D.C. The system allows the deaf to call family and friends who have only standard phones. The sign language interpreters talk for the deaf caller and sign to the other end of the conversation. And that's cool stuff. Cell phone ban? I'll give you a cell phone ban. New Yorkers still yak while driving, but now the state's got a new idea to shut them up. Jake 2.0, where a fictional national security agency keeps tabs on Jake's superpowers. Is the real NSA tapped into that kind of tech?
What we're teaching in our CD is the new recognized standard across the nation.
It's a CD tutorial on fighting terrorism. Find out how Responder 911 is helping firefighters.
A tragic end to a videotaped abduction in Florida. Police, reportedly directed by the suspect in the case, found the body of 11-year-old Carly Brucia missing since Sunday evening when her abduction was captured on a security camera in Sarasota, Florida. The suspect, Joseph P. Smith, has been charged with kidnapping and murder. NASA technicians enhanced the video for investigators as they tried to identify the man showed on the tape. One result of that cooperation, a Texas congressman wants NASA to make the enhancement technology available to police nationwide.
A call to squeal when you see cell phone users behind the wheel. New York State made it illegal for motorists to use cell phones while driving, but studies show drivers aren't hanging up. Now a new deal in the war against yakking while driving. Brooklyn Assemblyman Feliz Ortiz wants the State Department of Motor Vehicles to set up a public hotline so motorists could turn in offenders themselves. Offenders would get a warning the first time, then they'd face fines.
Road trip on Mars. NASA engineers drove the Opportunity rover on its longest drive yet, all of 11 feet, and are getting ready for another 3-foot journey. The goal of this mini odyssey, the rim of the crater in which the Opportunity landed a couple weeks back. Scientists hope to investigate a rocky outcropping which may contain minerals deposited by water. On the other side of Mars, the rover Spirit is getting ready for an 800-foot trip that could take as long as a month.
A big newspaper makes an embarrassing cyber goof. The Washington Post failed to renew one of its domain name registrations earlier this week, leading to a shutdown of its email system on Thursday. The Post said the domain washpost.com expired because renewal notices went to an inbox that no one was monitoring. The paper immediately paid to restore the domain, and email was expected to be fully online again by the end of the day Friday. It's the Pepsi Super Bowl ad again, this time with some anti-music cop attitude. Whoa, look, a really hot Saturn. No, we mean it, a really hot Saturn. Don't believe it? We're taking it for a spin next.
In today's security alert, you probably noticed fewer copies of the MyDoom virus in your inbox. It is slowing down. Since its emergence at the end of January, the virus has dramatically trailed off. These figures from Message Lab show they intercepted only 300,000 copies at the beginning of this week. There are still a lot of infected computers out there, so go to techlive.com. Look for the free MyDoom detection and removal tools in the security alert.
The Spy-Fi TV show Jake 2.0 takes an ordinary computer tech, the National Security Agency, and arms him with superhero-like powers. Could the real NSA be tapped into such tech? Good question. Paul Chambers checks it out.
In Jake's world, CG artists built the NSA from the ground up. In the real world, the NSA is off limits.
No one will ever go into the NSA. No one.
Well, she may be the NSA boss on Jake 2.0, but how real is Lou Beckett's character? I'm Paul Chambers here in Washington, D.C., where the real NSA has a thing for the guy named Bill, and I'm not talking about the guy who lived in a White House 4 years ago. This former Deputy Director Bill Crowell.
The NSA is a very large agency, probably as large as the CIA.
Then there's the current head of the nanotech team, a guy also named Bill. Yeah, just Bill.
We have two missions. The first is to collect foreign intelligence by electronic means, and the second is to safeguard United States communications and information.
But super agents with nanites, they call it mostly science fiction at this point, but not impossible.
Well, the potential, as I said, is almost unlimited, since you're building almost anything you can imagine out of individual atoms and molecules.
So we want the deets, what they're working with here.
Those tools aren't in the public domain, so I won't be discussing them.
Okay, Bill number 2.
Well, over the years, NSA has been very involved in developing many of the modern technologies that are now used in computers, things like transistors and integrated circuits, cassette audio tapes, and so forth.
NSA is also the agency behind the satellite snooping system Echelon. So are they snickering at Jake's tech or envious?
I know that my NSA contacts love the show.
So what is there to love? Find out for yourself as we take a close-up and behind-the-scenes look at the Vancouver set of Jake 2.0. It's a Tech TV special. Check it out at 12:30 p.m. Eastern this Sunday.
A copycat cola ad and Napster goes to college again. Here's Cutting Edge Entertainment News. Might look familiar, even sound familiar, but look closer. It is a parody of the new Super Bowl Sunday Pepsi ad that promises free iTunes downloads for cola drinkers. Only this remix of the ad has got some attitude the original didn't, taking a shot at the recording industry for its aggressive prosecution of song swappers. We say check out the link at our site, techlive.com. Higher learning gets Napsterized. The University of Rochester in New York is the latest college to join with Napster to give students free music. Under an agreement, over 3,000 on-campus students will get access to Napster's library of 500,000 songs. This move is designed to stop students from illegally pirating and sharing music. Penn State began offering a similar deal last year. Biff! Pow! It is a Marvel team-up like you've never seen before. Comic book publisher Marvel Comics and video game maker Electronic Arts have inked a deal to pit popular Marvel superheroes like Spider-Man and Wolverine against all new EA characters. This deal means Marvel gets to publish new comic books based on the new EA fighters. The first game hits consoles in late 2005. Did I really just say Biff? The new Marvel EA deal covers only fighting games, not the adventure-style titles like Final Fantasy that EA is known for.
By day, they're firefighters, but on their days off, they're video game creators, musicians, and movie trailer producers. These guys created a CD-ROM like no other. Its purpose, to prepare crews for emergencies and prevent boredom. Lindsay Arendt introduces us.
An emergency call comes into the station. Firefighters rush to the scene of a bioterror attack. What do? Well, if they've studied FEMA's government-issued terror manual, they might know the best course of action, or they might have fallen asleep trying to read the dry stuff.
There's these books that are out there that are wonderful, but sometimes it's hard that you don't see exactly what it is that you're supposed to do.
That's why Santa Ana, California firefighters John Muir and Jim Melton decided to pool their time, money, and creative spark to make an interactive CD-ROM called Responder 911.
Give
give you a basic format how to deal with any type of terrorism, whether it be chemical, biological, radiation, or an explosive.
The training CD lifts texts, tests, and lessons directly from FEMA's terror manual, but it gives it a little intensity and drama.
Are you prepared?
It's packed with training clips, descriptions, and flash-based visuals that show firefighters how to respond to specific terror scenes. It even comes with self-correcting tests and an interactive rig that explains all the gear inside. But shouldn't firefighters know all that stuff already?
What we're teaching in our CD is the new recognized standard across the nation.
Shot with a mini DV camera and edited on a Mac with Final Cut Pro, the guys are constantly tweaking and upgrading the CD.
Responder 911 defines terrorism involving criminal activity or terrorism to intimidate or coerce a government.
Their goal? To sell it to law enforcement and emergency response agencies nationwide.
It's applicable to everybody.
In the meantime, the guys are still adjusting to their double duty as firefighters and high-tech entrepreneurs.
It turned into an incredible, costly, hugely difficult task, but in the end, we learned quite a bit.
If you think creating a high-end quality CD-ROM like this is expensive, well, you're right. The guys spent $75 grand of their own money to make it.
Looking to pump up the volume in your cube? We got a set of computer speakers that can really crank it up. Coming up next.
This isn't your dad's cable news. This is Tech Live, bringing you the cutting-edge movie magic. And the cool new stuff first. Turn to the world's source for technology news. Watch Tech Live, weeknights 8, 7 Central, only on Tech TV.
It is the biggest day in the music world. The 46th annual Grammys are taking place this very weekend. Tech Live will be there talking to and perhaps harassing the artists. Monday on Tech Live, a backstage look at all of the tech used in the Grammys, from production to sound to a high-definition broadcast.
Wow. Well, you co-workers may call it cubicle warfare, but for many of us, work seems a little less trying when you add musical inspiration. I decided to take a look at a few ways you can spice up your workday with music.
These are computer speakers. Oh, no, wait. These are computer speakers. The Pro Media 2.1 THX certified bass kick and desktop speakers.
Welcome to Tech TV's newsroom. It's virtually the, well, nerve center of the network. As you can see, there are no cubicles around here, which kind of makes it tough to think. However, it is kind of nice when you want to crank things up.
You get one huge subwoofer and two smallish size speakers.
And it's even THX certified, which means even George Lucas approves.
The whole setup costs $180.
Mr. Leary, we need your approval. Mr. Leary!
Oh, hey, Josh. Could you do me a favor and come back later? I'm kind of busy. Busy listening to the ocean.
A great way to take the edge off. This is the portable sounds of nature from Excalibur.
You can either listen to the sea waves or the jungle. Ah, isn't that relaxing?
It also doubles as a radio. Retail price, $15. Why not blow off work entirely and teach yourself the piano?
This is the Yamaha EZ250i, and it's perfect for beginners.
Check this out. The keys light up depending on what song you're trying to play. And there's some pretty cool ones programmed in.
And we can start to make it better. Everybody sings.
Hey! Oh, come on!
Well, the keyboard is kind of big. It's got 66 keys, but I can still fit it on my desk, and you can find them for under $300. I love you just the way you are.
Now that's bad singing. All right, Star Wars fans, listen up if you like those Klipsch speakers. They actually make them in a special Star Wars edition. They don't sound any different, but you do get a kind of like a little certificate and a Star Wars logo on the subwoofer, and you get that for about $200.
I actually wear earplugs at my desk. Probably you know.
Yeah, for good reason.
Right.
For good reason.
All right, we're going to take a look at the Saturn. Its first cars were hot to folks of call it a sensible nature, but a lack of new models, new designs put that fire out. Now Saturn is trying to rekindle the flame. Bonneville Royal Salt Flats, Utah. For decades, the official playground of the world's fastest cars.
This is like the mecca of racing.
This is one of the very magical places left in motorsports.
Saturn's new Ion Red Line Coupe, with a turbocharged, wildly modified version of its normal four-cylinder engine, is the weapon of choice for an assault on the max speed record for the car's class. Just how fast is that? 183 miles per hour.
The little caps on there, are they screwed in?
But before the speed runs, there's technical inspection to pass. So far, so good.
Now we can get ready and go race.
Getting ready, last-minute tweaks in the traditional mechanical form and the equally important digital form.
The push truck will line up directly behind the Saturn.
The moment of truth approaches.
Go get him, be safe.
The shakedown runs went okay. Now, time for the rubber to meet the salt. But why build this car? Whose attention is Saturn trying to attract?
People that are very knowledgeable about performance and technology and equipment, just like some of the Honda and Toyota buyers are.
Are they successful? Would we do this story if they weren't? The new record is a big fat 212, beating the old record by almost 30 miles an hour. Look at that little Saturn go. Well, Saturn's high-performance coupe hits the streets this spring with a price tag starting at $20,000.
Hey, do you remember back in the old days when gaming wasn't even a verb and playing Frogger meant using a joystick with suction cups on the bottom? Clearly I'm too young, but I'm sure someone around here might remember. Well, those days are back, sort of. Check this out. All right, after all these years, Pong, Space Invaders, Donkey Kong, many more of your favorite tips are actually back. Best part, they're free. All you need is a computer and, of course, the internet. You actually have to be grown up in the 80s. Graphics in these games are kind of, well, they're not that great, but they are authentic, and, again, they are free, so that's the most important.
Free and authentic, just like you.
There you go.
Thanks for joining us tonight on Tech Live. I'm Michaela Pereira.
And I'm Chris Leary. I hope you didn't get too used to this one because she's leaving us on Tech Live, and it's kind of breaking my heart. And I am
so
gonna.
Sincere.
No, seriously, I'm gonna have to find some reason for my parents to keep watching this show because they apparently they really are fond of you. So are we.
Goodbye to all our viewers. I'll be on KTLA. You can start watching me there if you happen to be in Los Angeles.
We are gonna miss you.
You're gonna see lots of my projects in the next couple weeks. Thanks for watching.
Thank you, darling. Take care. We'll see you again soon.
Did you call me darling?
Sure did.